Hello, as you guys get in here. Just adding the topic. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. It is day 4 of my 15-day challenge that I'm doing, which is going live for 15 days straight to give you some insight on this whole blended thing. So, do you want to know my favorite tip for parents, especially parents who have multiple children or parents who just want to save some coins? So I'm calling it my having fun on a budget tip. Well, my name is Jamie Newton Knight. I am your blended Black family strategist, your cooperative co-parenting specialist. Let me get some light up in here. Hold on. Yes, to the light. Your cooperative co-parenting specialist, and I help women who feel overwhelmed by the drama and lack of boundaries in their blended families and are ready for a shift move past the pain and co-parent in a positive way. So, my favorite tip for having fun on a budget, well, actually, yes, my favorite tip for having fun on a budget, I have a couple tips. So, many of you know my story, some of you do not. I have lots of pictures on my page of my family, so most of you know that I have 4 beautiful children. Their age ranges from, they're as young as 5 and old as 25. So yes, there's a big age gap. I have a 5-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old son, a 19-year-old son, and a 25-year-old daughter. So when the 25-year-old and the 19-year-old were still in the house consistently, so before college and before moving away and doing your own thing, we were in the house together. So it was a family of 6 of us. So in order to do simple things like many parents, especially parents of single parents, so parents who have 1 child or parents who have 1 or 2 kids, it may not be as difficult for you, but for some parents it still is difficult. And finding tips, even if it's simple little tips on saving some money, is a good thing. So I am the type of person. My children and my husband call me frugal Fran, because I love to save money. So I will try to find the cheapest, the lowest cost, if it's free things to do. But I do that so that when we get to wherever it is that we're going, that we have more money to spend and enjoy the sights of the place that we're visiting, rather than having the money to spend to get there. So what do? I look for sites that offer discounts to families. So in New York, I live in New York, we have an amazing site called Mommy Poppins. On that site, they tell you a lot of either free or low-cost activities that are happening on a week-to-week basis for your family. Before Mommy Poppins, which has become popular now that my younger children are growing up, that we had a local newspaper in the area. So in that paper, which you could get at any corner of the block in New York, in Manhattan, well, downtown Manhattan, it was called the Downtown Express. So any area, anywhere downtown Manhattan, you could open up the little newspaper thing and grab a newspaper out, and that paper would also have all of the free or low cost activities that were happening in the area. So I was a huge advocate on finding free or low cost activities that were going to be helpful for our family, because the reality is I loved, even as a single mom with the 2 children, I loved keeping them active and keeping them involved in doing things. So we were always busy doing things, and that was because I would find the things that were cheapest or free. So I use apps to help me find things that are cheap. I use websites. I use the local newspaper, and I use friends, referrals, things like that. So right now, um, for instance, right now, like this is January, and we travel. Some people travel. Um, for myself, what I do is, because we have a large family, we often drive everywhere. So we'll drive from New York to South Carolina. We drive from New York to Virginia, North Carolina, wherever we drive, because that's usually the most cost effective for our family, being that we have such a large family. However, I also have downloaded the Hopper app, which is an app that some people use for flights. So I'm just going to give you an example of how I saved money just recently within the past month. We are having an 80th birthday celebration for my mom in January in her hometown. Now, in order for us to get to her hometown, we usually drive. The drive itself is about a 12 to 13 hour drive. And with small children, it becomes longer because everybody has to stop for the bathroom and they're tired of sitting in a car. So you try to make provisions for the children. So the trip that was once a 12-hour trip becomes a 14 or 16-hour trip, depending. So we had to, we learned to make provisions. So that, thinking about that fact, I was like, wait a minute, I wonder if there are any cheap tickets, because we could never fly anywhere. We just figured there's no way that all of us are going to be able to get on a plane and fly anywhere for cheap without spending over $1,000, because that's the reality. Most tickets cost $100 and something for each person. It might be $150 or $70 to round trip, so that's about $200 per person. $200 times 5 or 6 of us, that's all, you already up to $1,200, $1,000, $1,200, whatever. So we just decide not to do that. We usually just decide to get in a car, which will probably cost us about $600 for the rental for X amount of time. We think about the gas, we think about the tolls, we factor all of that in. However, this past month, I was like, let me just check Hopper and see what kind of offer they might have for the trip that we're taking. So I put the place that we're leaving from, the place that we're going to, and what pops up is a $62 ticket. Yes, ma'am and sir, you heard me right. A $62 ticket from New York to North Carolina. I was like, we got to hop on it. Actually, what I thought, I was like, oh, okay, so it's going to be $62 to go, $62 to come back. That's $124, for each of us times 5, whatever. Because you got to pay for the kids too. You have to pay for a child seat as well. That's about $500, $600, $700, $800, whatever. And I was like, that's not so bad. So we were still considering jumping on those tickets. And then I put everybody's information in, and at the end it pulled up the price, and it was $303, $306. I was like, wait, whoa. So each ticket ended up costing $62 round trip, not $62 to go and $62 to come back. $62 per person round trip to get from New York down south and back. I jumped on those tickets so fast because that's who I am. Like, I am the person who wants to find the greatest deal that's going to help my family, because it's a lot of us. It's 6 of us. And so we have to make sure that we're pulling, trying to figure out ways to save. So that's what I did. So when I saw that those tickets were dirt cheap, I jumped on those tickets. I actually thought it was going to be like Spirit Airlines, and I wasn't feeling that at first. I was like, oh God, it's going to be Spirit Airlines. Who knows when we're going to get to the place. And what ended up happening was that it wasn't. It was American Airlines. So I jumped on those tickets right away, got our tickets. So when we traveled for my mom's party, we are going to be traveling by plane, which is the first time that we'll all get to travel by plane together. It's been quite some time since our son was small. So I'm excited about that because that was me finding a way to save. So I'm saying all that to say any way that you can pull to find a way to save yourself some money through apps, through newspapers, websites, friends, referrals, all of those things. Make sure you utilize those things as a way to save yourself some money. You can still have fun on a budget. You can still have fun on a budget. Our family traveled to Florida a few months back, and um we drove down to Florida, but we drove because we knew that we was going to want to have a car to get around while we were down there. So we drove to Florida. We drove halfway, stopped in a state, slept, and then we drove the balance of the way. And so that it didn't take up so much time and the kids weren't so tired, and so we did all of that. And when we got there, instead of staying in a hotel, which was probably going to cost us about 100 and something a night, we decided that we were going to rent a house. So last year we rented a townhouse. This year we rented a home. And so that ended up saving us so much more money than having a hotel room every night and then instead of eating out every night, we bought food back to the house and made dinner at some nights. And of course the houses in Florida, many of them have a pool, so you can sit on the deck and you can have hot dogs on the grill. It's summertime, so you can do a lot of stuff. So I'm all about trying to find ways to save some money but also be able to have fun as well. So though that's what I like to do. That's my tip for having fun on a budget. So I want to know, what is your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite tip for either having fun on a budget, or what's your favorite tip as a family? Like, what do you do either to save money or I don't know, find the best movie, best activities for your family? What's your favorite thing? You can put that in the comments below. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm all about having fun, but I'm all about having fun and saving some money in the process. So, some of you have been asking about my shirts. Whenever you see me go live, usually when you see me go live, if I'm not on my way to work and I'm doing a live in my house, you'll see me wearing different shirts with different sayings on them. I love t-shirts that have like a message on it. I'm all about a good t-shirt with a nice message. This one says, "God is my CEO." I got it from a conference called the Millions Conference by Tiffany Montgomery. So shout out to that. But I love a t-shirt that has a good logo on, a good saying on the front of it. Like, I love those. Anyway, I'm not going to get sidetracked. So yes, tell me what your favorite thing to do is, how you have fun on a budget, or what your favorite activity to do with your family is, anything like that. In the meantime, if you are interested in joining the CoCo Blend Bootcamp, all the information will be listed below. If this is Facebook, on Instagram, the information is in the link in the bio. If you're interested in a free blended brainstorming session where you get some clarity on your blended struggle, you get some clarity on your blended struggle, and I'll help you find some tips on moving forward, then you can schedule that through the link in the bio. And again, on Facebook, the link will be below. And finally, if you decide that you just want some updates on my email, join the email list and you can get updates there. So I thank you for tuning in tonight. Don't forget to share this post. Please share this post if you found it helpful for yourself, or if you feel like you know a family that could use the tip, share it with them as well. In true mommy form, I was a little behind today. I was at 8. I think I got on at 8:09 or 8:10. But that's because right before I got on, my 8-year-old, who loves videos, he said he's going to be a future YouTuber, was trying to explain to me all of the things he desires to do when he gets his own YouTube channel. And so I didn't want to cut him off. and say, okay, mommy's got something to do. I'll talk to you about it later, because sometimes you get sidetracked and you never go back to it. So I wanted to honor what he was saying to me and let him see that I was listening and I heard him, so that he could give me some tips, because he thinks that he can always give me tips. So I listened to him, but that's why we were a little late today. But don't forget, tomorrow, tune in tomorrow, same time, same bat station, 8 p.m. right here, Eastern Standard Time, for day 5 of 15. And I will talk to you about another thing tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you ahead of time. You just have to tune in order to find out. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on LinkedIn, because I always forget that there's so many of these social media sites. Ugh, so many things. But anyway, I usually am on this Facebook and Instagram community often, more often than anywhere else. But I try to make my presence known on Twitter and also LinkedIn and YouTube as well. So if you have any of those social media sites, please follow me there as well. Again, share. Sharing is caring. I thank you again for tuning in. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same time, day 5. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.